Peace, family. So I'm back with another one. Today what I wanted to do is I wanted to talk to my chosen ones about how they are either with us or they are not. You either riding with me or you riding against me, you know. And what kind of dove me into this subject today was I just been communicating with a bunch of people from a bunch of different nationalities, bunch of different cultures, ideologies, religions, and a lot of people who tend to follow any new age religions or new age spiritualism, they all feel the need to put their own twist on either the Bible, the Quran. They saying that they getting connected with source without any religions, but then they still have their own witchcraft attached to it. It's been a lot of mixed messages and mixed potions that I've been coming across more so recently. And I know it's more recent because of the stance I take publicly and the way I communicate. Anybody that's engaged with me, you know, that's met me through here and engaged with me in real life or met me and we vibed in real life, understand that this is me 24/7. You know what I mean? And when you experience high levels of attacks, gang stalking, you know, just a bunch of witchcraft and witchery against you, and you know that that's not the kind of vibration you're putting out, you have to take certain measures to protect yourself. And what I've been doing recently is, because I vibe with all beings that's working their way in whatever method help them build a better connection with Source and the Creator. I've been figuring out new methods as far as figuring these beings out, because it's easy to distinguish the demons. You know, once you've been in this place for a long time, it's easy. I came across one of my old associates, or they actually reached out to me. I haven't talked to them in years, but I've had the same number for a long time. And they was just telling me about how they aren't in their little ship that they was in, relationship, whatever you want to call it, situationship, I don't know. It ain't have nothing to do with me. I wasn't invested in that person in that kind of way. But they just wanted to share a little bit about what's been going on with them. And what you realize, and what I realize is, because I've been in this field for some years now, people that's new to this spiritual war, basically, when they first growing into this space, the first thing they start researching and learning is narcissists. So when people communicate with me and they use the terminology narcissist, I understand that they're very new to the spiritual war. They're on like level 1, 2, 3. You know, they haven't made it past level 4 or 5. Which I'm not saying is bad, because you got to start from somewhere. But that also allows me to see how long I personally have been fighting and battling in this spiritual war. And the first being I was engaging with that I hadn't communicated with in a long time, you know, I let them fill me in, give me the rundown, you know. I gave them some knowledge, information, some insight back that I could correlate. I gave them some personal, and then I put the knowledge on top of it. So it's kind of like, I don't know, I guess I was thinking of a pie, you know. I like sweet potato pies. My experiences is the pie. The knowledge and wisdom that I put on top as I'm giving the information is the whipped cream or whatever topping I want to put on my sweet potato pie. If you do cakes, that's you, don't make a difference to me. You know, pies are just a little bit more of a natural sweetener. You know, you can grow sweet potatoes from the ground. You can bake them into the pie. You can make yeast to make your own dough. I just always process things this way. And as I'm engaging and communicating with the one being, I start asking them certain questions because I want to see, for one, how long have they been in this information, and for two, what kind of information are they actually researching and learning. I don't tell them what they should be researching and learning. I like to dive in and see what they actually give me first. And when they start explaining to me about the narcissist stuff, blah, 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 that word goes right over my head because I've been doing this long enough. Narcissist is just another cover-up word for demon. You know what I mean? So I don't really care for that title. In today's society, everybody's a damn narcissist. Let them tell it, you know. I watched this is a side note. I had seen that new show that's been going on everywhere. I tapped into one of them, and it's the Pop the Balloon. And the one that I did peep, it was this one female, and well, actually it was multiple females because it was the guys who was choosing this time. The guy asked them a question, how was their last relationship, who broke it off, blah, blah, blah. Every female on the panel gave the exact same answer. I just kept thinking, how demonic and low vibrational is this show, you know? And I understand low vibration in demonology is what's going to get you the views, it's going to get you the bag, you know what I mean? I would say to each his own, but I got to pay for the shit that they doing as well too. They all gave the same answer. Oh yeah, well, we kind of grew apart. That doesn't happen. One person's growing, one person is not growing. But every female, not one of them took accountability for their role. If you hear every female talk, every guy is going to be the issue. If you hear every guy talk, every female is going to be the issue. You know what I mean? So, I'm one of them beings, if you're going to point the finger over this side, just at least be expressive of your role that you play. You know what I mean? It's very difficult to play tennis by yourself, but you can play handball by yourself, you and the wall. You know what I mean? But back to what I was saying before, as they were expressing to me these things, I decided to start asking them some questions just to see, because a lot of people say that, oh yeah, you know, I'm a good person, I'm caring, I'm loving, you know, I always give my last, I give everything that I have, you know. A lot of people do this, right? But a lot of people do it on a demonic frequency, meaning that they're always looking for some kind of reciprocation. For me, when I give, or I should say when I used to give, I didn't really care too much about the reciprocation because I gave when I wanted to. Because nobody was going to make me give my love, light, energy, my resources, any of those things. So when I gave it, it's because I genuinely wanted to. Now I'm at a space now to where, as we're going to get there, that if it's not being reciprocated, if you're not sending that energy back, that's your last time at this store. You will not keep coming to this store. I'm going to lock the doors every time your ass pull up. But I start asking them questions because they was giving me the rundown of how much they care, give, love, blah, 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 and the kind of stuff. And they was just filling me in on the information that they was tapped in on, mostly narcissistic information, blah, 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 blah. So I start asking them just, and I asked these questions to two people recently, you know, just, I always ask, what's your connection with Source and the Creator? The first one, they don't follow any religions, you know, but they say they have their connection with Source and Creator, and they are in the process of either walking that life or trying to walk that life. And from there, I usually ask, do you follow the natural law or Creator's laws? Because a lot of people will acknowledge the Creator, but they won't follow the rules that's laid out by the Creator. It's kind of like what we do with the system right now. We all will acknowledge the system is on some fuckery. And you have a lot of people that will follow, but then a lot of us over here on this side, you know, we don't really care for following everything the system says to the T. You know what I mean? We figure out where there's wiggle room to where we can kind of implement our own sauce within the process. So those were the two questions I like to ask them. What's your relationship with Source? How did you feel or know that you was getting more connected with Source and the Creator? And then I also asked them, do they believe in the Creator's laws or natural law? These two questions are major. And they're major because most beings are not going to have... Who is that? Most beings is not going to have the answers that you feel. This butterfly will not stop attacking me. Most beings is not going to give you the answer that would make the most sense. Meaning, yes, I do have a connection with Source and Creator. They give you a list of things that they do to keep their connection airtight with Source. And then for the second question, do they believe in the natural law or the Creator's laws that's set in place for this whole realm? You know, and they usually are confused when it gets to that question. I think what's weird for me is that person didn't have no religious beliefs. They probably did grow up near Christian churches, you know, but at that time in their life, they don't have any beliefs. The other being I was connected and communicating with, they said that they grew up Christian, but they haven't been into any physical churches, but they go to church within, which is cool. You could do that. I respect that. I agree with that. You know what I mean? You don't have to go to these physical locations in order to build a connection with Source. But what gets me with the ones who follow the religion is they follow the religion only to where it benefits them. And it may sound a little biased, but most of the women that I have ran into, come across, know of, that's reached out, that say that they follow one of these religions, they all have their own plot twist on it and then want to incorporate it with modern day society, you know? And it always baffles me and throws me off, because it's like, if you believe in Source and the Creator, why do you feel like you have the authority and power to adjust and change the rules of Source? You know what I mean? And we don't have those powers and abilities to do that organically, to where you would still, you know, go to a good place or reap benefits in the spiritual world for it, you know. But you can do it connected to this matrix and do your own thing, because this is a free-for-all out here. Anything goes. And I asked the religious person the same way, you know, the same thing, the same questions, you know. What's your connection with Source? It's more so of an energy read, because people can blurt out any kind of generic answers. You can look at enough content, watch enough movies to figure out the right words to say. But if you don't present it in the right package, then it's not going to be suitable or fit, and you're going to be able to see the deception and the manipulation in between there. So it's kind of like if UPS or FedEx or Amazon delivered you a box, right? Say they delivered you this big old box, but all it had in it was a piece of gum. You would almost be able to tell that the box is too big for the item inside, because when you shake it, it doesn't have the same weight proportions to equivalent to the box size. They could have used a much smaller box, maybe this size, and it would have filled it better, opposed from using a box this size and having one little piece of bubble gum or seed or one chip in it. You always gonna be able to tell the difference every single time. But with a lot of the beings who follow the religion, what I've been noticing, they don't believe in... They'll follow the word to where it benefits them, but they don't follow it to the T, as far as they don't want to lose any kind of power or authority that they have in this realm. So this is where they put their own plot twist on it. So you'll come across a lot of people that say, oh yeah, I'm religious, I follow this religion, I follow that religion. But then you'll see Muslims out here that don't have the right dress attire for, you know, their culture. Because if they was in another part of the world, the men would be dressed a certain way, women would be dressed a certain way. That's just how it is. But there are no enforcers over here. See, the system has police to enforce their rules and laws. We don't have our spiritual police system working the way that it's supposed to be working. Because naturally we do have spiritual police officers, enforcers, who always feel the need to step in and step up for other beings. And those beings aren't the ones that saying, it ain't my business, it ain't my place, it ain't my business. You know what I mean? This butterfly is really trying to get at me right now. We about to have some issues, and they're going to go on to their next journey if they don't chill. I tell this to every bug that don't stay out of my space. You came over at the wrong time. I got to send you on to your next journey. It just got me again. That's been like 4 or 5 times this damn butterflies got. I ain't never known butterflies to act like this before, but now it got me more worried about the butterflies than the bees. You gotta be able to keep it light while you're out here, you know what I mean? I just don't need that thing all on my neck and stuff like that. But the religion aspect of it, they don't want to follow the laws that are in place, meaning there's man, there's God, man, woman, child. They believe in God. They believe in themselves, the woman. They'll believe in their children, but they refuse to put man in their position. And it's like, even if you don't want to believe it, a lot of these things are in your Bible. You know what I mean? So to me, like, of course you don't put every man in that position, right? But the ones who are like your siblings, you know, healthy siblings, healthy father figures, healthy uncles, you know, this is the order that it's supposed to go in. This is how we maintain structure, organized structure out here that's in a more beneficial layout for all of us out here, you know. But a lot of beings, I should say a lot of women, have a hard time following our Western society. And you do got some men who are out there that's pretty demonic, some warlords who say that they're religious, and they have not figured out the way to master their lustful energy that comes their way. Which I can understand them to agree, because when you walk out the house, all the women are hardly wearing anything, you know what I mean? So that is his own battle in itself, you know. So it just depends on how strong and how much that man is actually working and building his connection with source. Because that's one thing for men that's never going to be an easy task, because we are, you know, visual, physical creatures. So you basically are fighting your natural instincts. If we was in a culture where everybody was naked, that wouldn't be a big deal. You got tribes that, you know, they don't utilize clothing items at all. That's fine. So when somebody wears clothes, it probably seems awkward to them. But we're in a society where everyone wears clothes, supposed to wear clothes, but then they're wearing a bunch of not anything out here. You know what I mean? So you have the ones who don't want to believe in God, man, woman, child. These two questions, or that I put out in place, are always the biggest deciding factor as far as if I'm going to give you more of my vibration, or if I'm going to remove my vibration, or if I just turn down my empathy and only keep our engagements transactional. Because we have to deal with demons out here, so you're going to have to figure out a way to turn it down and be able to be transactional. You know, that's mandatory. But I realized that saves a lot of time. It saves you from losing fingers, toes, you know, limbs, just different parts, you know, of yourself, because you gave someone a chance. You can give chances, but you have to have a list in place that you flow by. For me, I didn't want to make a long list because we all are unique to our own degree, right? I will never disagree with that, but we are all so much alike because we are all in these human body forms. So we're all limited. Like, I don't expect to see this human over here just jump up and start flying, you know, because that's not how we're built. I don't care for that La La Land shit where, oh, well, if you believe in creator, then you can do anything. Like, certain things are just embedded that it's kind of like what came first, the chicken or the egg. Certain things we are just not supposed to know and we just not supposed to do. It's just that simple. But these two questions will help tremendously in this battle time. Because once you can get the, not the answer you're looking for. Once they give you the correct answer, not the one you're looking for, because 1 + 1 = 2. We all can say, okay, well, 1 human + 1 human could equal 3, but that's on a minimal scale, So, but for the most part, if I take 1 apple and another apple, that's 2 apples. I take 1 orange, there's 2 oranges. I take 1 leaf and another leaf, that's 2 leaves. For the most part, that's how your math is going to math. So it's no different when you talking about creator and source. The creator and source is very direct, very clear and intentional. There is no mistakes, there is no chaos, there is no confusion. What happens is you get into your feelings because you don't actually want to flow with the real rules and laws that's in place. So being in the middle of this war, you have to understand that most of us are never just going to completely eliminate all people unless we got $1 billion and we can move on to an island and we don't have to deal with people anymore. But for the rest of us, the average people, we're going to have to deal with people and demons whether you want to or not. You could say all you want to. Yeah, I cut everybody off. Yeah, in your personal space, but you still have to deal with people in public spaces. You know what I mean? So I feel like this is important for us to be able to weed out the ones who we allow in our space and the ones who we choose to dive in their spaces. Because I've had several situations, not the ones that I'm speaking of right now, but several situations within these past 5 or 6 months where it's people who are tapped into me, they reach out, but they don't believe in, basically they don't believe in the knowledge and information that I'm saying, but they tap in to watch it. It sounds good and it feels good to them. But I actually walk this life. So when people try to come around with their witchery, now what's happening is, if you want to do business, we can do business. If it's going to be pleasure or personable, I'm going to have to limit it if you are not, 1, expressive of your connection with source, and 2, if you don't understand the laws and rules that are in place. God, man, woman, child. Every man should be building to be a leader of his family, community, or tribe, which I know, fellas, it's difficult right now, and I know a lot of males who don't have a family, meaning like they haven't been able to create their own family, because every female is looking for the exact same male. You know what I mean? They don't want someone who's righteous, who's gonna fight and die for them, who's gonna build for them and with them. You know what I mean? They're looking for something already established and someone who don't give a fuck about them but can provide a lifestyle. You know what I mean? I'm just saying certain lifestyle, because we all live a certain lifestyle to a degree, you know what I mean? But they want one of these luxurious lifestyles, not understanding that the biggest bags in today's society comes from being demonic. The biggest bags come from being demonic. You can work a job, you can be cool and keep your little credit score up. Credit score is just debt, you know what I mean? Or at least that's how it used to be. Now they're using your credit score for everything else, you know what I mean? Like, it's a whole headache out here. But understanding, I really just want to get up here and just drop that bit piece down about as far as the questions to ask when engaging and dealing with new people. If you saying you with source and you connected with source, then you should already be able to express your areas and avenues and angles as far as how you got connected with source, your connection with source, how you practice your connection with source, and then also, you know, the natural laws and the creator's laws that's in place. We should all be aware of these, you know. But most women don't have a husband, so then they don't have a male leader. You know, a boyfriend is not the same thing. I have to go through this with my daughter all the time because it's all witchery, you know. She has boys that are friends from school, associates. But then if you say boyfriend, then it has a different connotation to it, and it's supposed to be together. We gotta stop all of that shit. You know what I mean? It's like pre-training trials to be damaged. It's like, why would I want to pre-train myself to be damaged later on down the line? Hell no. Why would I want to pre-train my daughter to be damaged down the line? She already gonna have her own obstacles and things that she gotta go through. You know what I mean? But in Western society, a lot of the structure that's implemented out here, we all know that it's been kind of a role swap. Not really a role swap. It's really been pushing women into their masculine energy and then removing the man altogether. The easiest and best way to take over and beat any community is to wipe out the men. Most people understand that the men are the stronger beings, not the females, when it comes to these things. And for some reason, it makes women feel little for understanding that their divine femininity, isn't, it doesn't go hand to hand with masculine energy. It's kind of like a counter. You know what I mean? And instead of them being deeper into their divine femininity, they're actually pushing this off to the side. They're speaking softer, being softer, dressing softer, but they're still leading in their masculine energy. And it's like, that's where the catch-22 comes in at, because it's like, how do you stay in your divine femme out here in a society where it's all demons at? They take on the masculinity because the masculinity is the stronger of the two vibrations. People never think of this. Like, it doesn't make you a lesser being. It just means that this is the stronger one. Like, my brain be doing this little shaky thing up against the walls, just like, I'm just too infinity and beyond this place out here. You know what I mean? And sometimes I be wishing it hurry up and I can hurry up and go on to my next journey, because I'm over this one right here, right now. You know what I mean? It's like me being this age in kindergarten. Like, all the work is going to be easy, but I still may not want to do it because it's just so not entertaining. I'm not learning or getting anything from it. And then all the people around me are really like kindergartenish. They still haven't started growing to their next levels yet, because they're just now getting here. I just don't care to understand it. Like, if divine femininity was stronger than masculine, it would make more sense for me to go into my divine femininity to outpower the masculine. Even saying it right now, like, it blows my mind away that we still do not see that the men are the stronger ones. And in order to take over a community or society, you have to beat down the men. You have to pull the men out the houses, out the families. You have to put men in slavery. You have to do all of these other witchcrafts. You have to eliminate men's, like, ownership. Like, most men out here, we don't own shit. So then that takes away from you, like, trying to build and grow something. It's like so many obstacles and things that you got in the way to stop you from doing what you got to do. You can have this male right here do this thing right here that's negative. That's negative, but he'll receive higher consequences for the same action that this female commits right here. She gets lesser consequences. You know what I mean? When you are in a vessel and you are privileged to say that, you know, you don't have to work. You have to be in your divine femme and find the righteous leader to provide and for you to be a part of their tribe. It's like that's painful for them. You know, they helping society crash out. You know, we doing all of these things and not understanding, like, if I needed to survive and my back was against the wall, me going into my divine femininity isn't going to protect me the way I need to be protected. So I need to go into the stronger energy, which is the masculine. It's so weird. It's such a weird process. And they be like, some of them be like, well, I cannot be feminine unless the right masculine man come along. But if he meets you, then you're masculine. Most men don't want to date other men. That's why they aren't with other men. You know what I mean? So it's a weird process. Long story short, because I don't want to run it up too much longer, you know what I mean? Ask these certain questions when you are engaging with people. When I engage with females, I assume they either going to be a witch on some demon time energy or something of that nature if they cannot give me certain responses to these 2 questions. It's only 2 questions. Powerful questions, but it's only 2. Outside of that, you can have conversations about everything else. What's their favorite color? What's their shoe size? Where do they like to go? What do they like to do? You can be your own being and entity out here, but you have to have a blueprint. If your blueprint is in the gray area, I'm assuming it's demonic. We're in the middle of a battlefield and we gotta keep ourselves protected at all times. You know what I mean? But always ask these questions. Always ask these questions, especially if you're gonna allow people into your personal space or you're going into their personal space. And if you've already been through enough attacks, this will help save you time on being attacked by certain entities when you could have prevented it. You know what I mean? What's your connection with Source? How do you practice your daily habits and rituals with keeping your connection with Source tighter? You know what I mean? Do you believe in natural law or the Creator's laws? Because those laws trump this shit out here, this systematic laws that's in place right now. That's why you can go jaywalk and break a law. You don't feel bad. You don't feel guilty. You don't have to reap any weird consequences for doing it. But the minute you do one of your peers or a family member or somebody dirty, or you snake them or you manipulate them, it comes back to you right away. You're gonna know. Tap in anything down below though. Peace and love to the kings and queens.